know what I'm saying?
Hey, so I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times people think that when you grow out of a season, that you also grow out of honoring that season.
That's good.
Right? When the truth of the matter is, you learned what you learned.
Right.
And when you nobody graduates from elementary school and goes to junior high and then looks back at elementary school and be like, those clowns.
Right.
Can't believe those stupid teachers teaching me division.
Right.
It's all about algebra, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, if you didn't learn division and basic mathematics, you wouldn't be able to go on to algebra and calculus and, you know what I'm saying? All this kind of stuff. It's like just elementary school, you can graduate from something without looking back at it in disdain.
Right.
And maybe you don't agree with your teachers, or maybe you don't agree with the way they taught you division. Maybe they taught you long division and you found the shortcut or whatever.
Right.
And like, I feel that way about Potter's House. Like, Potter's House is solely responsible for putting in me what I've been able to put out in mass.
Right.
Now, here's the way that I break that down. I gave my life to Jesus Christ at God's Way of Holiness Fellowship Church.
Right.
Okay, in West Covina, California. Okay, my parents pastored that church. That church never had over 100 people in it.
Right.
In 15 years.
Right.
Okay. The way I say it is that the cake got baked at God's Way of Holiness Fellowship.
Right.
That's where the ingredients were put in. Charles and Maxine, they are responsible.
Right.
From birth to the time I gave my life to Jesus and 18 months afterwards, because I was there a year and a half before I moved to Texas.
Right.
The ingredients that's in this cake, all of that was put in there by Charles and Maxine Ross and God's Way of Holiness Fellowship.
Right.
So the cake was baked at God's Way. The frosting got put on at Potter's House.
Right.
And you know cake is better with frosting.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's good.
When I got to PH, that's where the frosting got put on.
Right.
And that's when I started learning like how to believe God for like big stuff. I go from a church that didn't have over 100 people to a church of thousands. And Bishop Jakes gave me the opportunity to stand on platforms.
Right.
I did mime ministry. And he took us on the road with him. Like his major conferences, we were doing mimes, okay? He let me rap there. I was rapping before he preached.
Right.
He would let me and my shout out to Otis Buckley. He would let me and Otis rap before he preached on a Saturday night service with 5,000 people in the room. So I had been on major platforms in my early 20s.
Right.
He was letting me get used to it.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So miming there, I did spoken word, I did rap, I did little sermonettes. And then in 2006, he hired me to be the young adult pastor. I was preaching to 25,000 people.
Right.
You don't move on from that season and be like, stupid church.
Right.
Dumb church. Can't believe that church. No, that church is amazing.
Right.
I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for that church.
Right.
And I may differ in my expression now.
Yeah.
But I still remember the foundation. And that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's important.
Well, you know, like, again, this goes back to like what church, what ministry, what pastor would allow you to preach at 13. Now, so when we preached at, and this is what we were taught, if God's hand is on you and you're called to preach, you'll find a place to preach, and you'll accept every opportunity to preach, because preachers preach.
Period. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? Like, so we were taught, hey, listen, you find a place to preach, and we got nursing homes, we got care centers,
because there is a place to preach.
Exactly. There's always a place to preach.
Yeah, if you waiting for your bucket list,
right,
you in it for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Good luck waiting.
Yeah, good luck waiting on that.
Right. Mm-hmm. So after preaching on the street, then I preached at church on like a Sunday night. And I got the tape for that, bro. Like, that's literally.
How old were you?
Reverend Timmy Rivers, 13.
You have a tape of you being 13 years old preaching?
Yes, sir.
I got to see this.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, I got to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a VHS?
No, it's a cassette tape. Cassette tape, bro.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I'll bring it. I may have it on my phone. I may have a clip on my phone.
Okay, bro. I'm so glad that doesn't exist for me.
Oh, bro.
I can't imagine my first sermon.
Oh, man.
Listening to that right now.
You know what's wild though? It's like you listen to it, and you're like, man, thank you God for growing me.
Oh, for sure.
But when I listened to it, I started crying, bro. Because for me, it was like this. It was real for me at that age. It wasn't just a game. So when I tell people, like a lot of times when people go, like, how long have you been preaching? I give them kind of like when I became a youth pastor, which is at 18. But
that's not the truth.
Yeah, for preaching
I'm
itself.
not saying that's not the truth.
Right.
That's not the actual start date.
Because most people don't actually, when I say I started preaching at 13, they're like, right.
Yeah,
they
diminish it. They diminish it. They diminish it, and they shouldn't do that. I want to know, I'm curious about why you were crying. What were you hearing from him?
Man, that's good, bro. I'm probably going to start crying now. To me, this has never been a game. Ministry's never been a game. And, at 35, looking back 20 years now, it was never a game. Like, I always felt that way. But then when I hear myself preach at 13, of course, it's like a typical 13-year-old preaching. I mean, I have my passage and I have my thoughts and stuff like that. But there's this like passion that I had, even at that age, that was like, this is what God's called me to do. And this word is for somebody. And it's just that like hearing a 13-year-old be passionate about what God's called him to do and knowing it's yourself, like it moved me to tears because, and I thank God, that he called me at a young age and then allowed me to start operating at an early age too. And then I think it just made me reminisce about all the people too. Cause in the tape, you can hear like the church in the background being like, preach, preach, brother. That's right. And you're like, man, all those people, bro, like took it serious.
Yeah, for sure.
They weren't like, oh, this little kid's up there preaching. It was like they truly allowed for a young guy to be used of God, bro. And like that, that moves me to tears, man. Cause it's like, I hope I pray that I do that for our kids.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, I sure do hope they have a support system around them that does the same thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Dude, so let me tell you why this is like very, very meaningful to me. So Cosby's in my top 5, Cosby's number 1.
Right.
I know that's gonna mess with some people's head.
Right.
Present circumstances excluded.
Right.
Cosby's my GOAT.
Right.
Chappelle's too. Okay. Chappelle's relevant and he's significant.
Right.
But Cosby's the GOAT to me.
Right.
And I used to follow this app he had, obviously prior to everything come out. And like he has an app, he's still putting out content. And he's like, hey y'all, no, I'll never be quiet. It's terrible. Okay, let me focus. So oh my gosh. But he used to have this app, and he loves jazz, and he used to listen to these. He had these jazz artists that he was very fond of. He was talking to one of the jazz artists, and he was like, "Man, just where you went in that session was amazing." Let's just say the dude was on the sax or the the trombone or the whatever, trumpet. And the guy said, yeah, man, I still go back and listen to my early stuff. And Cosby said, why? He said, I need to go back to the early stuff I need to listen to that kid every once in a while just to figure out the risk that he took and I needed to hear how brave he was before I got all polished and before I started thinking about everything. I need to go back to the kid every once. And I thought to myself, how many of us go back to the kid?
Yeah.
Just to see,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And some of us go back to our kid and it's painful. It makes us cry. Some of us go back to our kid and we're inspired and it's whimsical. Right. Some of us go back to our kid and we get brave again. And some of us go back to our kid and we get afraid again, you know.
Right.
But I think we have to be, I think it's good to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good to go back.
Yeah.
I have a, well, I didn't put it out, but somebody put out this sermon I did at Potter's House called Stop Tripping Is Coming.
Yeah, and that fire message.
It has like over 500,000 views, right?
Yeah.
It just blessed that dude so much he put it out, right?
Right.
So, but I'll go back and I have a bunch of other Potter's House stuff on Vimeo. Like a lot of people don't rock with Vimeo, you know what I mean?
Right.
That was kind of like I don't know if it was trying to be like the alternative to YouTube. It didn't make it.
Yeah.
But their servers are still up. You know what I mean? So I have.
What happened to Vimeo?
I don't. It's still there, bro. It's still there.
For real?
And my sermons from PH are still there as well.
Okay.
So I'll go back and look at that kid. Yeah. That 33-year-old, and I'll go back and be like, okay, that suit is swallowing him up. Yeah. And you acting just like your daddy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm like, that dude had zero cares.
Right.
That dude believed that what was coming out of his mouth was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and would fight you on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I go back and look at that dude just to be like, yeah, you still got that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like that ain't left you.
Right.
So it's just dope to be able to go back that far.
Right.
To go back to 13.
Right.